It drives me crazy when people say they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day and work out, or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve, if it is physically improve or if it is mentally to improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because we have, when people say we don't have the time, we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day, so that gives you still 18 hours. Now there's someone shaking their head out here in front. They say probably, I don't sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? Or just sleep faster. So we have 18 hours a day. The average person works around 8 to 10 hours. So let's assume it's 10 hours, so we have 8 hours left. Then you travel around an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So now you have still 6 hours left. So what do you do with these 6 hours? What do you do with these 6 hours? Then we eat a little bit, then we schmooze a little bit, talk a little bit to people and all that stuff. But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard.
You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. This isn't like some 5-step process where if you do these 5 steps, you're gonna end up with this magical world. No, I'm basically teaching you how to callous over your victim's mentality. I'm teaching you how to, like I did 67,000 pull-ups in training for the pull-up record. I was seriously callousing my hands to protect them. What I'm trying to do with people is teach them how to find more themselves to where they empower themselves. I'm all about the underdog.
Since I was 14, spending 12 hours a day in my dad's liquor store in Springfield, New Jersey, not too far away, was just how I grew up. I worked every weekend. I worked every summer vacation. My parents were gangsters. I don't know if you guys remember, but the last day of school, starting around middle school, was a half a day. My parents used to pick me up at that half a day and bring me to the store so I could work the end of the second day. They didn't even give me that half day. It was work ethic, and I always understood that that would do something. But as I've gone through the journeys of my career, other things started to become obvious to me, which was these things are going well for me. And yes, I'm working hard, and yes, I'm doing the thing, but I have a feeling a lot of this is coming from the things that I was also gifted, predominantly from my mother, which are the soft skills.
If you're driving a car, the car may say 130 miles an hour. The factory puts a governor on it so you only go 91. So you're sitting there when to race somebody, they have no governor, they're fine, boom. You can't, because every time you get to 91, the car starts doing this, We put a governor on our brain, and the second we get to that governor, our bodies start doing this. Oh, this sucks, this is uncomfortable. No, let's go this way, let's stop. It starts giving you all these questions that we cannot answer. If you can't answer the questions your brain is asking you, you quit. If you have the answers to those questions of why the hell am I out here, and you give it a quick answer, the brain starts shutting up because it knows why we're doing what we're doing. I started figuring these things out in my life. So we have this governor on our brain, and how you start pushing past that governor, start realizing your brain has the tactical advantage over you. Why? Because it knows your insecurities. It knows when you're lying, it knows your fears, it knows everything about you. And whenever those things start, like right now, I'm scared to death up here. Why? When I was in 6th grade, I was in a play. And I stood up in front of a whole bunch of white people that probably didn't, I was being judged in my mind. Scared the shit out of me. and I stuttered severely bad. I knew I stuttered bad. My line was this long. It's like hello or some shit. And I stood up for everybody, and I was like this. And I walked off stage. So when I walk up in front of 1,200 people, it's still there. My mind's telling me, go, run off the stage. I have to tell my mind something different. I have to remember my resume, what I've been through, that all of you in here are just as fucked up as me. We post our real life, never on Instagram. We post the life that we want to have out there. That's not me anymore. I'm gonna tell you exactly about me, who I am. That's how you get better. That's how you fix yourself. That's how you grow.
I talk often about the importance of trauma as a man. I think that if you were to find the most interesting or most capable men on the planet, they've had the most trauma-filled lives. I just think that trauma is what teaches you. We talked earlier about how you have to have lessons taught to you the hardest way. If you were to call a Navy SEAL and ask him to protect you going into a building full of assailants, you'd like to think that guy's been through some stuff. You'd like to see some scars, right? Lessons and trauma, and the more you go through, the better of a man you are. And if you were to find the best men on the planet, I guarantee they've been through a bunch of terrible things. And if you listen to podcasts from any of the most interesting people on the planet, usually they've had hard, terrible lives. And you can use that trauma to become a better person, or you can let that trauma consume you and destroy you. But I thank God for all of it, because it gave me endless power to become the person I am. The bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. When someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me," I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here? How else you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. If you have a duty to your bloodline and a duty to your ancestors, and you truly love your parents, how can you still be saying a playing video games, being a lazy piece of shit? Don't you want people to remember them? Don't you want people to think, wow, who's this person who raised this amazing person?
I never had the attitude of looking for like a big home run. I think people are always looking for like big home runs. Man, if I could just get this collab with this person, or if I could just get this thing, then everything would work out. I kind of knew that wasn't how it worked.
I've been afraid of a big home run, because I'm afraid if I get a big home run, I can lose it that fast.
Yeah. You know,
I'd rather each year see my income just slightly increase. If it does that over 3, 4, 5 years, like, well, that's probably gonna keep happening now.
Yeah. Think about like the Grand Canyon, right? The Colorado River built that super slow with just water going down, right? But it's like a huge, one of the wonders of the world. But it was super slow over a long period of time. So I just figured if I get up every day and put in as much work as I can, do all that can be done each day, then it would make it impossible to fail, right? And now this will probably be number 3 or 4, whatever we're on, is most people look at their goals, they approach them in a way where they say, what do I need to do to accomplish that goal? But I look at my goals as, what kind of effort do I need to put in to make failure impossible? Right? You know what I'm saying? It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
And if you do that, and then if you like list that out, or this is what I need to do to make failure impossible, and then you do it.
My biggest fear in life right now is losing that voice in my head that says, no, you should do more. No matter what I do, that voice is there. And I think it's the greatest gift you could ever receive. I think that voice comes from some version of your inner consciousness or God that tells you what you should be doing and what you could do and what's possible for you.
There's a big difference between those two possibilities. Is the voice coming from you, or is the voice coming from God, who is outside of you?
Oh, I think that depends on who you're asking. Nonetheless, it does. The voice is there, and that's a voice you want to keep. So for me, as much as I would like to act like I've achieved everything and I've developed to the place that I'm ultimately going to be, I know that I'll never be happy with it. I'll never retire. I'll never be done. I'll never be satisfied with anything I do. I bought 56 more doors last week. You know, I still feel like I'm behind, and I have over 400 doors. And when I get to 1,000, I'll be mad because I don't have 5,000. And that's just how we are. You have been shooting content all morning. I've been watching you because I was in the dressing room, the lady putting powder all over me and all these things are going on. I'm like, what is this? It's the first time I've ever worn makeup, Michael.
No, really? You
Yeah.
don't wear makeup when you do your videos and interviews?
No, I learned a lot this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
You could say, I just woke up like this, this is...
I should have took that opportunity. But no, it was the powder, right? And I believe that voice in your head that tortures you is the voice that makes you great. And it's the same thing that told you that you have to shoot double time because you have to make it to the hospital to see your son being born. It's the same voice. Where is it coming from, or where do you believe it's coming from, I think could be up for debate depending on the individual. But I do know this, if that voice is lost, you're in deep trouble. I always say that success is a two-way street, or it's a two-part thing. It's climbing the mountain, and it's looking for other mountains to climb. Because if you get to the top of the mountain that you're climbing and you have nowhere to go, all you can do is self-sabotage yourself down.
I think my number one habit is always telling myself, I don't have control over shit.
Yeah.
But I do have control over, like, I'm just going to keep fucking doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find a way.
That's beautiful, right? Because, like, it's the determination. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people, I call them try babies. Where what they do is, man, they trying shit to see if it works, right? And soon as they fail,
They're looking for the fail almost.
Yeah. So they're trying a bunch of different shit, and soon as something fails, they quit, right? They try babies, right? But me, I was like, no, I'm going to fail until I win.
I think those people, and I used to do this, they're looking for evidence that it's not going to work for me. But that won't work for me because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna. They just find the reason in the advice. You even see that. I see it in my videos in the comments. Like, oh, this would be cool, but I live in Zimbabwe or
some
something.
shit
There's no
country
chance
or
it's gonna
something.
work for me.
Yeah. If man.
And there's differences. There's differences, bro.
Yeah. Somebody has some advantages that you don't have, right? I always looked at it like this: it's people who have advantages that I don't have, and that means I have to work harder than them. So I work harder than them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. Right? I don't think about I try to never think about what I can't do. I think about what I can do, right? And I never let what I can't do stop me from doing what I can do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I knew I had all these disadvantages, and I knew, that, I like you said, I had one hand behind my back, right? I had to support a family at the same time I'm doing this. And I just looked at it like a challenge, like it was gonna make honestly, that's how I looked at it. Like, my dad didn't leave me no inheritance, no money, there was nothing. He just left a fucking mess, right? And I was like, what he did leave me, though, was a better story than if, he just kept making more millions and then I did this, right? I feel like, okay.
The hero story.
Yeah, he left me the hero story, but I had to still execute it. You know what I'm saying?
You had to turn it into a story.
I had to turn it into the story.
Beginnings of the story.
Yes.
If you're viewing bright light in the middle of the night, you are suppressing dopamine release. If you're suppressing dopamine release, you are suppressing testosterone levels. We're talking all about hormones, these incredible chemicals that can impact our mood, our behavior, our feelings of optimism or pessimism. The amazing thing about hormones is that hormones impact all those things, but all those things, how we feel and what we do and what we think, also can impact our hormones. And so it's a really fascinating area of biology that impacts every single one of us every day, both in wakefulness and in sleep and throughout the lifespan.
We want people to make guarantees to us, but we're not willing to make guarantees to ourselves.
That's Thoreau's quote, that most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy.
Oh my God.
You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away.
And how do people get stuck there? How do you think they get stuck there?
Bills.
Bills, like financial bills?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Bills and commitment. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have to. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from.
Where do you think opportunity plays into that?
Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz. If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell. That's the real message. The real message is we all started from nowhere. I mean, we all had bullshit jobs. We all felt like losers. But through time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body. You build a stronger mind. You build accomplishments and will and momentum. And then you look back and you go, hey man, I'm not washing tables anymore. You know, I'm not washing dishes. I'm not cutting lawns. I'm not digging ditches.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a different person now, but I used to be.
And these desire not to be there, but not to stay in there. That's what.
That's the hardest part, right? Is to get out of that rut. When you ain't got shit and there's nothing going on, to have faith then is so difficult. To have faith when you're successful, it's like, listen, bitch, you've been successful for a while. Of course you got faith. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's easy.
It's it's like
absolutely right.
It's like you already got up the hill. Now you're just coasting.
Yeah.
You know, you're just rolling down the hill. Everything's great.
That's the easy
part. It's all
part.
smooth sailing.
Yep.
The hard part is getting up that fucking hill. Especially if you got a dad you're hiding from. Especially if you feel like you're a loser, or you never really had anything in your life that you could look back on and say, hey, I was really good at that. You know, and there's a lot of people out there listening to this. There's so many people that are in that starting point. Like the people that come up to you and say, I don't know what to do. What should I do? How do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I get going? But you're going to have to figure it out, one foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
You're going to have to find a thing and keep working at it and get better at it.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but
can.
you have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you fucked up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, god damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something and to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific. But if you could just find a thing and work hard at that thing, you'll realize through that thing that you can get good at anything with time and effort. That's one of the things that I like so much about martial arts. They let anybody in. Anybody in, and then from learning how to do that, you get better, and then you realize, damn, I can get better at anything.
Yeah.
Because it's so. The first time I ever did jiu-jitsu, I remember just being manhandled so bad, going, man, I'll never be good at this. This is terrible. I'm fucking awful at this.
You pick the thing.
Yeah, pick the thing.
You
pick the thing. Whatever
man.
the thing calls to you. Whatever calls to you.
Yep, the desire to change, to not. To change those circumstances, whatever they might be.
Yeah.
As long as you have to have that desire, the will to change those circumstances.
Yeah.
That's your start right there, man. No matter how bleak it may seem, but if you have the will, the desire to change it, there's your starting point.
Yeah.
You know?
And the suggestion that I always give to people is write down things that you want to try to accomplish. Just write them down.
Or a guy said to me, he said, write the way you want your obituary to appear now. Sit down, write your obituary. He says, because that'll show you how far off your goals you are.
Well, here's a better one. pretend there's a documentary crew filming your success story and they're following you around right now. What would you do? What would you do if you knew that there was a crew following you around with cameras documenting your future incredible success, and they want to catch you in the act of it all? You would do all the right things you would have to do. Think about that, organize it. But we are saddled down by so many doubts and so much just mental horseshit that keeps people from action.
It's the ultimate power to stand in front of a group of people, and you all can ask me any question you want to, and I'll answer it. That right there is what I talk about authenticity. It's being able to know that your life is jacked up, that we all come from a past that may be bad or good, and to own it, and not to be ashamed of it, to not be afraid for people to judge you, not care what other people think, to be able to walk around in your own skin and be so comfortable in it that you can write your whole life, all the bad, not the good, all the bad on the billboard, and walk around like this. This is me, man. This is me. That's authenticity to me. And when you get to that point, when you can walk around with those middle fingers up, not really like being mean to people, but saying, judge me, man. This is it. This is who I am, but I'm fixing it. I'm not just letting it, it's not defining who I am, but that's a part of my life. And it's just owning who you are and not being ashamed of it.
There was this like moment that I had where I just kept saying, why not? Like, why, right? And Russell Westbrook is a good friend of mine. I tease him all the time because the one saying that he has that I wish I would have had, or I wish I got to first, is why not, right? And it's so genius. It's so genius. It's so simple, but yet so profound. You don't just have to have one job. And working any job, and whether that job is a 9 to 5 or whether it's a, half a day, full day, whatever it is, you don't just have to do one thing. You can do a lot of different things. But there's this weird mindset that a lot of people have that you can only do one thing. And when I realized I don't have to just do one thing, I can do a lot of different things. You can be good at a lot of different things. But you don't know that you're good at a lot of different things unless you try a lot of different things. And when I looked around and I kind of just realized how the world goes around, it's all based off of creativity. It's all based off of ideas. It's all based off of thought-provoking, then groundbreaking opportunities. But the simplest things have come from an idea. From your chair, to your table, to your wheel, to your light bulb, to your car, to your plane, to your helicopter, to the idea of a hotel, from hotels going to a place of people renting out houses and Airbnbs, to taxis, to then people driving their own cars. These are all ideas. And the groundbreaking thought that I had in realizing all these ideas is that these ideas have the potential to touch the sky if a person believes that they can. If a person believes that they can, well, your world of idea changes. Your reason for getting up, your reason for putting your feet on the ground every morning, it can change if you believe that the purpose that you now have and that you're working towards, based off of an idea, is something that you can succeed in. I grasped that understanding and I attached it to everything that I tried to do. I did not set out to be the actor, the director, the writer, the producer, the CEO, the chairman, the advisor. I did not set out to do any of these things. And I'm gonna make it very clear, I don't have the educational background for any of these things. What I had was an idea to try. And after you get an idea to try, what I had was the patience to sit and listen. Be a sponge. Learn. Figure it out. And figuring it out, there was another side of not being okay with the incomplete version of figuring out the thing that I didn't do. Well, why did I go ask all these questions If I'm not gonna try it now that I know how.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me try it. The only consequence is failure. By the way, not trying is failing.
Yeah, well said.
I want to make that very clear.
Well said, yeah.
Not trying is failing. There's a lot of things that people can't do simply because you've never tried to do it.
Being in that box. If I didn't get over my fear of being, of being in the water, I'd never be a SEAL. I'm gonna be up here right now. I have no story to share. By me saying, okay, man, I'm afraid of the water, and that's kind of shackling my mind, it's by facing those things, that's how you open up different doors of your life. Because all these things that we're afraid of, they're doors that can possibly lead you to a whole other world. But we keep them shut for fear, for insecurities. And that's the thing about tripling down on your weaknesses, so then those weaknesses end up becoming your strengths.
I think follow your passion is also a terrible piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. People say, hey man, you need to find what you're passionate about and do that. And what they're trying to say is only do what you like because you have no motivation to do anything else. And motivation in and of itself is a scam. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in discipline. I am not motivated to do the things I'm supposed to do every day. I don't wake up full of like joy that I have to go to the gym or that I have to work or gotta deal with crap. I don't feel motivated to do them. I'm disciplined. I do them regardless of how I feel. Whether I'm in the mood to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it, it gets done. That's discipline. Discipline's a real thing. Motivation is fleeting.
Yeah.
You're never going to be permanently motivated. So when someone comes along and says, oh, do what you're passionate about, what they're saying is you'll have endless motivation and then you'll be able to try hard. If you're the kind of person who can only try hard at something he enjoys, then you're going to fail. Because most things you enjoy don't pay any money. If they paid money, you wouldn't enjoy them. It's called a job, right? Nobody likes their job. You like your hobby. I'm sure you like playing video games. Maybe 1%, 0.1% can make money from video games, right? Most people, you ain't ever gonna make it.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy in China who owns a concrete plant is passionate about concrete? Do you think he's sitting there stroking it at night, naked in bed? Fuck no. It's money. Be passionate about success. If you're passionate about money, then you can be passionate about anything. I'll be passionate about any business on earth that pays me. If you pay me $1 billion to dig that hole, I'll be very passionate about that hole. I will dig that hole with passion for the cash.
Yeah, because you know the cash.
For the money.
Yeah.
That's right. So when people come along and say, oh, you need to find something you're passionate about, follow your passion. Bro, you're going to follow your passion to the fucking food bank. You're never going to make any money that way. You have to sit there and go, what is going to pay me?
It's not about detaching yourself from your emotions. I feel every single emotion. It's just about using them all. Just using them all in a positive direction.
Yeah.
If I feel extremely happy and excited, I'm going to use that as motivation or energy to do amazing things and do good and work hard. If I feel absolutely depressed and distraught, I'm going to use that as endless energy and motivation to do amazing things and work hard. It doesn't matter what you give me. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted and transferred. It doesn't matter what fuel you give me. If you give me diesel, petrol, kerosene, vodka, doesn't matter what you put inside of my engine.
Hard work is gonna come out.
Absolutely.
Success.
That's all I know how to do.
Yeah.
That's all I know how to do. It doesn't matter what fuel you put in my engine. My engine only knows how to do one thing, and that is succeed. That's all I know how to do.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you feed me with. I'm going to be massively successful regardless.
These haters, they know who you are, but you don't know them. There's a reason behind that. You've done something amazing. They've done nothing.
Correct.
Period. Which is probably why they fucking hate your ass.
Well, they talk shit.
That's right.
And you know, it's funny because I was looking at something one day. And first of all, there's nothing funny about being in bad health. There's nothing funny about being overweight.
Nope.
There's nothing funny about feeling like shit when you take your shirt off and you're a dude.
Yep.
There's nothing funny about taking your shirt off and going like, I don't like this. Like there's nothing funny about being in a pool with your shirt on.
Yep.
Because you're fat.
Yep.
I mean, that's why you're doing it. You're not doing it because it feels good. It's wet, your shirt's on. Hell, you're a Navy SEAL. Would you rather have your shirt on or off? You know what I mean? Right. And I'll see these people and they'll go on, they'll make these videos, right? I wonder, because I always wonder how you felt. And it's a big fat dude with his shirt off, and he's running, get out, and he's doing his thing. And he's not talking shit, by the way. He don't mean no harm.
Right.
When you see that, if you ever see him, I don't know if you ever see him or not.
People have shown me him a lot.
How do you feel about those? I'm just morbidly curious.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Not because, for a lot of reasons. First of all, if maybe you took your life more serious, lose some fucking weight versus trying to imitate David Goggins. First thing, but second thing is, where you going? What do you want to do with your life, bro? Like you saw David Goggins, and because now you want some followers, I'm going to imitate David Goggins. And I'm going to be a big old fat white dude.
That's right.
That runs and spills a bunch of shit. While it may be funny, where the fuck are you going?
Correct.
you look like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are you going, bro?
Not very long or
Like,
far.
life right now needs to really be kicking you in the back of the head saying, look, man, our time frame is done. Because what people don't get about life is up until you're about 30, you're fucked. You know what you're doing. You're kind of just scrambling around unless you have good direction. Then you might figure it out from 30 to 50 something, maybe 60, and then the back half of your life, you're fucked. So 2/3 of your fucking life, you suck. So the more you fuck up that middle part, from 30 to 50, 40 to 60-ish, you only got about good 25 years of like, man, I'm killing it out here. People don't get that. So you're fucking around out here, running around your shirt off, and you're in that window now of like, you're starting to waste time, bro. You're starting to waste time. So that's how I feel about it.
Throughout most of school, for me, I was pretty isolated. Only child, pretty unpopular in school. And the main issue that I had was, it wasn't bullying, it was isolation. I think it was being lonely.
Right.
And that was primarily what was causing me to be sad throughout school.
Right.
So I do this interview for the BBC about 6 months ago. And in it, I talk about, I haven't opened up that much about bullying. I need to do it more. And it is, even from watching you go through opening up about your traumas, it is inspiring. So I do this interview for the BBC, and I mention a little bit about bullying in school. And
so why don't you mention it?
I haven't got around to it yet. I maybe still feel like it detracts from the man that I want to be, the masculine man, the respected podcaster, that it somehow undermines me as a person, that it makes me weaker, which is obviously what was, part of the bullying's purpose in school, to be able to do precisely that.
Right.
So I do this interview for the BBC, and I mention in 2 paragraphs or something, but millions of people see this article. And I get back one day, and in my Instagram message requests is this message from a guy, and I kind of recognize his name, but not fully. And I don't know whether you know, but there's like a character limit in Instagram.
Yes.
And this is 5 character limit messages long, with multiple paragraphs within each of them, right? So I open it up, and this guy says, hi Chris, you might not remember me, but we went to school together. I bullied you. My daughter is 4, and she's about to go to school. And given that she's about to go to school, me and my wife have been discussing about the kind of child that we want her to be. And that caused me to reflect on my time that I spent in school. I've been thinking about messaging you for a while. I've been considering talking to you because I really felt like I needed to, because I felt ashamed of the way that I treated you in school, and I knew that it had hurt you. And then I saw this article from the BBC, and I just had to reach out. And I've been sleepless nights, speaking to the wife, tears and all the rest of it. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for what I did. I wanted to let you know that my daughter is going to be raised in a way that will never treat anybody like that again. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if you'll see this message. I'm happy to see that you seem to be happy. But I needed to get it off my chest.
Right.
I'm like, fuck, totally taken aback. Like, wasn't prepared for this. I've come back in from the gym or something, and I'm sat reading this message like, fucking hell, that's heavy. So I go back through and I think, well, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this person? How do I feel about my experience?
Right.
Because it was so formative, right? It shaped so much of the way that I see myself, the way that I see the world. I had to deprogram so much of the patterns that I'd learned through that time. My desire for validation from other people, my need to be liked, my constant vigilance, my ambient anxiety that was always looking for what was going on, my concern of being left out, my adamant nature that everybody was able to judge something about me that I didn't know about myself. But this guy had like fully opened up to me, and I thought, well, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful message. So I replied to him and I said, hey man, I very much appreciate you reaching out. I think it's an incredibly brave thing to do. And if me going through what I went through and then the pain and discomfort and such, and your subsequent suffering of reflecting on what you did, if that has led to a world in which your daughter will be the sort of person who will behave in a manner that's going to make the world a better place going forward, I think that's a price that's worth paying.
That's awesome, man.
Tell you a story about my dad. This story went viral on one of my Twitter accounts. That got banned, blah, blah. But when I was in school, I was on the school bus in Indiana, and there was these, how old was I? 6 or 7, and there was these 2 kids who were maybe 9 or 10 who used to pick on me from behind, right? And they used to pick on me on the bus all the time, and I came home to my dad, and I said they picked on me. He goes, well, what are you going to do about it? I was like, well, I don't know what to do. They're bigger than me. He goes, you have a lunchbox? I was like, oh. That was his answer. So anyway, they kept picking on me, and after about 10 days, they were picking on me, after about 2 weeks later, I remember, one of them slapped me on the side of the face, and it stung. And I turned around my lunchbox and smashed him clean in the face. And it was a plastic Batman lunchbox. It was blue. And when I hit him, it splintered and it cut him. So blood squirting everywhere all over the school bus, right? And the 2 bullies are like, now they crap themselves, because the kid they picked on all of a sudden just turned around and smashed him in the face. So I came home. After I hit him, I instantly, it was just before, as the bus stopped, I turned around, smashed him, and ran off the bus. So as I ran off the bus, I ran all the way home, like scared, because I just hit him. And I got home when I just had the handle of the lunchbox. That's all I had left. And my dad saw me, and he instantly said, let's go buy a new lunchbox. And we went to the Walmart, and he said, I'll buy you as many of these as you need, son. And he bought me a new lunchbox, and that was the end of my bullying story. You know, he bullied me again.
That's right.
He didn't ask me who they were. The school called. I don't know what he said to him. Must have told him to fuck off. I never heard about it again. But that was my dad's answer. Oh, my dad didn't come to save me. I kept telling my dad about him. He's like, no, fix it. Yeah. And after I smashed him in the face, my dad bought me a brand new lunchbox. He goes, anytime you need a new lunchbox, let me know. Otherwise, you know what to do. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I was never picked on again.
That's right.
And I learned my lesson for life, right? Sometimes you tolerate X, and then it gets to Y. You got to do what you got to do. You know what's crazy? In school, all the kids who are like cool and never got picked on and bullied, they're all losers now.
I agree.
But then you have all the geeks who got picked on. He's a tech billionaire. You got this guy, that guy, this guy. As a man, trauma is super important.
So one big thing is a lot of people, it's hard to imagine, but you have to learn how to fail. Because I'm going to explain this to you. I had big dreams. A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're gonna have a lot of bad days, a lot of setbacks. So like when I was losing 106 pounds in 3 months, the first 2 months or first 2 weeks, it's like I was gaining weight. You know, I would lose a pound, gain 2. So I was just failing. I kept failing and kept failing and kept failing. So I had to teach myself how to fail right. And what that means is when I fail, I can't spend much time in that fail zone. I have to be able to get up and get after the next day just as fast, because my goals were to be a Navy SEAL. I don't have time to stay here and feel bad for myself for weeks and months and years, because I'll lose that time. So the big thing is know that if you have big goals and big dreams, along the way failure is going to happen. So how fast do you get up from that? And you got to teach yourself that. But the biggest key to success in anything you do is you got to have an unlimited supply of fucking fuck you. This drive and passion, and it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. But I had this fire that I'm going to be somebody. And it has to be there, because on all those bad days and all those days you don't want to do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything. So to do that, you have to come into work, and work is whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people are like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you this fucking damn motivated? Because this is what it takes. This is what the fuck it takes. And you got to get it from wherever you can. Whether you make up this illusion of your life or this false reality that gets you motivated, whatever gets you motivated, it's got to be here at the tip of your brain at all times. Because in those dark moments, you got to pull it out. So that's the big thing for me, man. I was always fired up at all times. I believe in patience. I'm a patient dude. I can watch a piece of grass grow for 20 years
because I know that it's just how you get somewhere in life. By being that monk-like mentality and being able to watch something grow very calmly, patiently. And that's all I'm doing right now. It's not about money. It's not about people knowing me. I don't care if you like me. Whoever wants to hear this, it's out there. It's my duty. It's my duty to share it's kind of like it's somebody who discovered a new earth, you know, and discovered the people on it, in the water source and the food source. I discovered a whole nother part of your fucking brain that a lot of people don't even know about. It's my job by being on this journey and being a discovery person and being the person that maybe I didn't discover this part. I discovered a very important part that I haven't met many people that have discovered this part. I'm sure there's a lot out there, but it's my job now to take these weak people in the category that I was in and say, stop reading the bullshit. Stop listening to the bullshit. And if my story of success can impact somebody, it is my job, it's my duty to share the story. As much as I'm not really fond of it, I'm the kind of guy that wants to sit in the fucking room and just be me.